Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to a new retouching video. Now, this is going to be a pretty quick video because what I'm trying to do is just show you guys how easy it is right now to retouch headshots for me. So this is the before, this is the after, before and after. And if you look at the like the straight out of the camera, oh, not that one, straight out of camera, this is the before and this is the after, before and after. And all I did was just copy the settings that I use here in Capture One and put it on top of this other image here, and I can do the same to this image. Now, Capture One has made things really easy recently with the select, selective or select mask, option where, for example, let's say I want to work on this image, and with an image like this, I don't have too much that I'll do. I'll drag my blacks in, probably pull my whites in a little bit right here, my highlights in my levels, and also just check my exposure warning to see if anything is blown out here. And as you guys can see, nothing's blown out. Now I can just select my subject here once I hit select subject, and what Capture One would do is if I hit M on my keyboard, you guys can see the mask. It's selecting my subject pretty good, right? And here, as you guys can see, I still have this down here, so I can look at the space between my blacks and my whites right here. So I can always just, pull in just a little bit to add some more contrast. And same thing, my whites, just pulling my whites till here. And you guys can see it's pretty similar to what we have done up here. Extremely similar, because I don't do too much in post, except I absolutely have to. But for the most part, this is what, everything looks like. So we're going to hop on one of these images. I don't know which one we should do. Maybe we should do this one down here. Let's work on this image down here, this particular one. So what we're going to do is edit with Photoshop. As you guys can see, I'm practically done with, working on this image in Capture One. So we're just going to open this image in Photoshop. And the first thing I want to do is duplicate the image. So that's Command J or Control J on PC. For some reason, my Wacom tablet is not on, so I'm going to do is turn that on. Okay, great, so it's on now. And if you don't retouch the Wacom tablet, then man, you are missing. With this image, we're not going to go too in depth. I'm just going to show you how easy it is, like I said, for me to retouch headshots now, and at the same time still keep it pretty professional, right? So what you want to do is pick your spot healing brush. I think that's what's called, right? And then what I'm just going to do is just go over the hair that is here. You don't need to sample with this particular brush, you just go over, and for the most part, it does a pretty good job. It does a decent job. And you just go over all this part. Just remove this strays that are here. It's the easiest way to get rid of strays. So we'll just take out some of these strays that are here. You can be, pretty, I wanted to use the word anal about it, but you can go in and get everything done, as neat as you want it to be, or not. At the end of the day, I try to keep my images, as natural as possible. Now, when it comes to this part of the hair, right? Because there isn't a lot of texture here. I mean, it's different for everybody. But for me, because there's not a lot of texture, I just pick my clone stamp tool, right? Reduce my flow to something pretty low, maybe 12 is fine. And what I'm just going to do is that I'm just going to clone and just paint over these parts like this. So I'll just select from down here and then just paint over these parts. Because, like I said, there isn't a lot of texture here, so I don't need to worry about that too much. And then go in and start cleaning up, and it's the same thing that I'll do for here, because right here you can see there are some there's just some texture here, but I just feel like it's it's just lost. And you want to fix that part up pretty good, and the same thing for here. Down here, just clean up this a little bit. I will come back and clean this up a little bit. I try not to like just waste too much time on these parts of the image. Just, you see, it looks decent. What I'm going to do is just create a layer mask. Why am I forgetting the names of everything today? And then with the black brush, just click X. What I'm just going to do is just clean up places like this, right? And That is fine. I shouldn't clean that up. And if anything, I'll just clean up places like this, right? You guys can see this area looks decent. I mean, I would go in and fix this part up a little bit, but it looks decent. You can also just fix that up with dodge and burn. And once again, come in here, touch up these places if you absolutely have to. Like I said, spot healing brushes does a pretty good job. Just make sure you're on the image. It does a pretty good job, just cleaning out these unwanted strands that you have here. I mean, you can go in and do it manually. If I was, let's say I was doing like a professional job for like skincare company, right? I'll probably go in and take my time, like fixing everything. But I mean, if they don't pay me too well and I don't spend hours on it, then I'll probably just go this way. And honestly, it works both ways though. Like, you don't really have to spend hours retouching an image, even if you're doing a professional job for skincare company, because most of them want the images to look natural anyway. Okay, so just going to zoom out. You guys can see that part's a little bit cleaned up. You can always go inside and work on those things. And then we're done. We kind of like fixed up the hair a little bit right here, right? And what I'll do is create a stamp visible layer. So that's Command, Option, Shift, and E. So on PC, that should be Control, Alternate, Shift, and E, right? And then I'm just going to run my beauty retouch action. Now, to be very honest, right, I don't use the retouch actions sometimes when I do my portraits, that's from the waist up or full body images. Sometimes I just feel like maybe it might be easy to just jump in there and do it with dodge and burn. But with my headshots, and any portrait that is, not too far away, like these actions are like perfect. So honestly speaking, I think you should check them out. I still use them for my portraits, but the idea is when it comes to headshots, I use them 100% of the time, unlike, with the portraits where it's kind of like, it's like 60, 70%, but we headshots 100% of the time, right? Okay, make sure your hardness is on 0. Take your flow all the way down to, let's say, about 20 something, right? And then we'll come to paint here, and what we're going to do is just paint. Now, when the area has like a lot of white, spilling, just be careful around there, because sometimes, it might look a little wonky, but apart from that, by the way, make sure your foreground color is white. But yeah, but apart from those areas, I think you're good. And you don't have to be careful about anything. You just paint over the image. That's all you need to do. Just paint over the whole image. So you guys can see, I haven't showed you the before and after. Look at the before and after. You guys can see it's done a great job blending the image already, and the same thing for this part. The body, just go in there and then just paint over. So let's zoom inside and see. You guys can see it's done a pretty good job blending everything in, right? And then now I'm just going to pick my clone stamp tool, make sure my flow is at 100%, and what I'll do is just hop in there and just take out some blemishes. Like I said, I'm not doing too much here today. And a trick I always tell people is, when you take blemishes away from somewhere, you can always just come and paint some textures in, like I just did here, right? So that's another solid trick that you should know. Okay, let's say I go in now and I am done taking out most of, my textures. Just give me a few minutes. I'll be right back. Let me take more of these textures out so this image looks ready to go out on Instagram, because I'm going to post this, I'm not just coming here to show you guys that, hey, look at a really easy way to retouch your image, and then I will not now use the image that I just retouched. I think this will show you that you can, take a little time to retouch, and then, still put the image out, and still going to get great response from your audience or from your clients, right? Another thing you should have in mind is my retouching is a little bit different from what it used to be previously. Right now, my images don't look as retouched as they used to be in the past. So maybe that's one way I could get away with it, but I don't think it's me getting away with it. I think it's me just maturing as a retoucher and also as like a creative, right? And letting my lighting talk more for my images than my retouching, right? I mean, both of them still do a phenomenal job, so if your lighting is great, then at the end of the day your retouched image will look really, really good. So okay, great. Now, for the most part, I think removing the blemishes is something that takes quite a lot of time. By the way, if you don't know how to use the clone stamp tool, all I'm doing is just sample and painting. Just sample and paint, and then you'll be done in no time. Okay, let's say we've done a pretty decent job here. Come down to the body, remove these tiny strands of hair that's just hanging here, because we don't want any of that, even if we want it to look natural. We don't want any of those. Let's see. We've done a decent job at this point, right? Done a pretty decent job. Now, what will make your image stand out at the end of the day is still micro dodge and burn. Micro dodge and burn is still like a factor when it comes to retouching headshots, right? And while this image is good to go, like I feel like this image is pretty much good to go, because with an image like this, right? Let's see before and after, right? I feel like I could just do the global dodge and burn, and the image will be good to go at this point. Like I said, the makeup was good, the model looks good. We don't have to do too much, but you can take it a step further using micro dodge and burn, because what I'm just going to do is run my complete dodge and burn action right here, and it will bring my check layer up. Right now, my check layer, I can see some places that I still feel like don't look the best. Like you can see all these parts right here. I just feel like those parts don't look the best. So what we're going to do is pick a brush tool and take our flow all the way to 1%. By the way, if you guys are interested in me starting like a retouching school thing where we're just going to have kind of like a membership thing where we're going to be meeting every week to retouch images, and that should help you improve and be better, let me know, because it's something I've been thinking about, but I don't know yet. But yeah, so now we're just going to come to burn, make sure it's a white brush, make sure it's a soft white brush, flows on 1%, and what we're going to do is just burn some parts of this image. Now, dodge and burn is pretty easy to do. I have a ton of tutorials on dodge and burn, especially micro dodge and burn. So if you want to learn micro dodge and burn, just go on YouTube and just type Prince Mason and dodge and burn, and a few tutorials will definitely pop off. Okay, great. So you see this part right here, I'm just fixing up that part right there, right? You can see I've done a decent job fixing up that part. Now if I turn this off, you guys can see there are just those light stuff spilling there, right? And then I'll just go to my dodge and then just fill out some of these again, just blend these in, make sure that it's looking good. Now underneath the eyes, I'm just going to zoom out this image, because sometimes you see your image better when it's zoomed out. Underneath the eyes, what I'm going to do is dodge those, because she has some dark spots right there. Then I'll just come to burn and then just fix some of those places up here that I can see that I don't like. Just burn some of those. So dodging and burning is literally just blending, because like the way your subject looks is a combination of shadows and highlights, right? And just knowing how to mess around with your shadows and highlight goes a long way in determining how your image will look. So I see some places here that I don't like too, and maybe somewhere around here that just some tiny patches here and there that I feel like we can fill up, just to, I would say, accentuate the look on her face. Just make some certain places a lot stronger than they were. Okay, great. So that's the before, that's the after. You can see, like with the micro dodge and burn, it's not doing too much, but look at the left part of the face right here. You guys can see it's fixed out. And look at the right part of the face right here. Let's see how before, after. You guys can see that it's fixed out too. So it's not like it's doing a lot, but it's fixing, things up here and there that's making the image look really good. And they're really subtle things, and those subtle things that go a long way to having a pretty decent overall image, right? So at this point, I mean, for me, I'll probably go in and just fix a thing or two, but I think the image is really good and it could go out, right? So what we're going to do is just do a little bit of global dodge and burn. Like I said, if your lighting is great, then every other thing kind of like just flows, right? So global dodge and burn, what we're going to do is take this to maybe 3%, right? And what we want to do is just work on our highlights just a little bit, you know. We don't want the highlights to kind of like stick out too much, right? Right here on the lip, you know, I'm just going to work on these highlights right here. Now, I'm not saying every image is going to be this easy, you know, depending on your subject and also, you know, like your lighting, you know, your subject skin, all those things go a long way. And, you know, also, like I said, where you want to post the photos, right? These photos are probably just going on my Instagram. So I don't think that I need to do too much or spend so much time, you know, working on these photos. Like I said, if it's something that was for a client, then I'll probably take a little bit more time to work on it, you know, if it's probably going on like maybe it's for a campaign, you know. There are a few things like right here, up here in the head, a few things that I'll probably work on, right? But for the most part, you know, I think it's a decent looking image, right? And then now what we're going to do is just go to our levels. I mean, the image is pretty contrasty already, so we don't want to do too much with our levels, right? So maybe just one. It's fine. Image is pretty contrasty, right? We can maybe just go in there, eyes and teeth whitening. By the way, the action is available for free in my digital store. Check it out. And you can, everything I've used to retouch today, you can literally just check it out in my digital store and get it if you want. If you get it, then you are 100% supporting the channel, right? And I really appreciate that. You know, I really appreciate your support. Okay, great. So we're going to go to curves up here because that's like the brightness, and just reduce that so it's not too bright. Before, after, you can see the eyes look nice and white right now. And yeah, you know, I think it's a pretty decent retouch that I've done in pretty much no time. Let's see what before looks like, after, before, after. Let's zoom out again and see before, after. I think we've done a pretty good job in, like I said, practically no time. Before, after, before, after, before, after. And the image looks really nice and clean. And I'll post this image on my Instagram, and nobody will really know that I didn't spend too much time here. I might come in here, up here, and just fix a little bit, you know, fix that up with the dodge and burn, the micro dodge and burn, which is pretty easy to do, you know. Just make sure that my flow is on 1%. What I'm going to do is just dodge some areas here and burn some areas. And what that's just going to do is that it's just going to smoothen out these lines that are here, you know, just dodge a little bit more. And then, you know, like then burn the highlights here, you know, just smoothing the area out a little bit. You know, I'm not saying, you know, I'm doing the most amazing job in the world, but I just think that, you know, like with, yeah, you know, something like that. It's not too bad. It's not too shabby. You know, fixed up a little bit. Look at the before, look at the after, before, after, fixed up a little bit. So yeah, I think it's a pretty decent image. Obviously, we'll go in and do a little bit of liquify. If typically I would advise you do liquify first, or you just keep it as the last thing you're going to do if you're not going to do anything to the image again. You know, for an image like this, I might still do a little bit of dodge and burning. You know, around here you can see those marks right here. Now, regardless of how much I try not to spend too much time on an image, the more I look at it, the more I feel like, oh, you know, there's still a little bit more to do here. But what we're going to do is just save this image, right, and see what it looks like in Capture One. But for the most part, this is literally all you need. This is retouching made super easy. And like I said, if you want to check out any of the things that I used in retouching this image, links will be in the description below. Check it out. Check out the medium frequency. Check out my beauty retouching. Also, you know, check out my skin tone lots. I didn't use any of my skin tone lots for this image right now, but, you know, check it out. I still use that a lot. And yeah, so thank you. I appreciate you guys. And if you like this video, give you a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this and more content like this, just let me know. I'm going to take this to capture one, and I would add a little bit of grain to it, and I think it will look absolutely gorgeous. So this is the before, and that's the after. Before, after. See you guys next video. Peace out, guys.